Hello guys, today we are going to be reading more Curious George, A Home for Honeybees. And you've probably seen last video, we've done 3 Curious George books. Maybe 4, but 3. And there might be a quiz. No, there's not a quiz. Aw, man. But we're going to be reading 2 books of Curious George, and Little Ben will be reading 2 books of Curious George too. George and Steve like to build things. You 2 are good builders, like bees, said Betsy. George was curious. Bees could build things? Bees make honeycombs inside their hives to store honey, Betsy said. She gave some to George and Steve to taste. Honey tastes very good, I'm not kidding. Betsy showed them her poster from Earth Day. Bees build hives in trees to lay their eggs and store honey. All the bees follow a queen bee. She is the biggest bee in the hive. Worker bees go from flower to flower, get nectar and pollen to make honey. The honeycomb was very sweet. When Betsy left for dance class, George and Steve ate the whole thing. They needed to find more honeycomb. George and Steve went to the park to look for a beehive in a tree. Be careful! Bees can sting, Steve said. They can sting, very sting. George could not find a hive, but he found something else. He saw a beekeeper at the Earth Day festival in the park. This is a beehive, the beekeeper said. I built it myself. It works the same way as a hive in a tree. The bees make honeycomb on the frames in the top box. The box on the bottom is where the queen bee lives and lays her eggs. You can build your own beehive, the beekeeper said. Then you can get more honeycomb. And they went back to George's house to get started. Steve drew plans for the hive. George thought building boxes would take a long time. George tried to use drawers. Some drawers didn't fit together. But a kitchen cabinet would make a great beehive. Sure, the man with the yellow hat sure wouldn't mind. Wait, that's the yellow hats? Oh, wait, that's George's owner. Oh, no. George knew where to get the frames. He and Steve put all the parts together. Their beehive was ready to go back to Betsy's house. Now they needed to find some bees. George had an idea. Maybe if their hive had flowers, the bees would move in. But just then, Betsy came home. I'm sorry we all hate your honeycomb, said Steve. We built you a hive to make more. Steve and George were worried Betsy would be angry, but instead she looked happy. This is the best present ever, Betsy said. Besides, that piece of honeycomb was for you. I've got lots more. What a relief! Betsy's project was not ruined, and there was more honeycomb. Everyone was happy. Well, almost everyone. Yep, that just happened. Be like a bee. Haha, get it? Be like a bee. Anyway, so we did a winter's nap. we did the boat show, mini golf, and we haven't done this, and this. I'm going to save 2 for my brother, but I'm going to do the roller coaster. Oh no. You can already see. George woke his friend up early. Today was a special day. They were going to Zannyland. George was curious, about riding the roller coaster. It was the Turbo Python 3000. It looked scary and fun. Betsy and Steve had ridden it 9 times. They invited George to ride with them, but there was a problem. George was too short. The man at the gate said George needed to be 5 candy strings too tall to ride. George was only 4. How could George grow 1 candy string in a day? Maybe he could eat leaves like a giraffe. Giraffes were tall. Yuck! The leaves tasted bad. George took a bite of his candy string. Candy tasted better. What else could he do to grow? George thought exercising might help. He lifted a heavy bar. Then George measured himself. He was now 4.5 candy strings tall. George wondered if stretching could make it grow. By the time George was very tired, he nibbled on his candy some more. George saw Mother and Baby. The mother told the baby that sleep would help him grow. So George took a nap again. So George took a nap too. When he woke up, he measured again. Hooray! He was finally 5 candy strings tall. But the sign said he was too short to ride. How could that be? Have you been biting your candy strings, George? The man with the yellow hat asked. George nodded. Well, the candy strings were longer. It took 4 to measure you, the man explained. Now that the candy strings are shorter, it takes more of them to measure you. 5. But you did not grow. George was disappointed. Captain Zanny, the park owner, walked by. When he heard about George's problem, he smiled. Since monkeys don't grow very tall, we have a special sign for them. Was George tall enough now? You bet he was! And you can stop this. You can pause the video and then you can read this. And that is it. Now I'm going to be moving on to read 2 books. Now don't read this, and the one that, or this.
Okay.
You can read this.
Okay.
Or do you want to read this?
I can choose.
So,